Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Play down the left and Moy stayed onside. Here's Muniz! 2-0 Huddersfield Town on the opening day of the Premier League. 1-2 wicket from here's Moy, right-footed. 1-0 Huddersfield Town. Lindelof misses his header. De Quattro's in. Round De Gea. 2-0 Huddersfield Town. 2-0 Huddersfield Town. Here's Sanka to turn it into the pass. Yes! And Cummins scored. Cummins has scored one of the most important goals of Huddersfield Town's history. De Quattro's forward. De Quattro's got the better. Yes! And Laurent De Quattro scores. Laurent De Quattro scores.
Just hold on, we're going home, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the warm-up, episode 36. Home is where we want to be, and after 533 days, the John Smith Stadium will welcome back fans as Huddersfield take on Fulham this Saturday. Joining me, your host, Brady Frost, to preview the Terriers' first home game of the season is the man who's got a few home truths when it comes to talking about town. It's my co-host, Josh Phillips. Josh, how are you, mate?
Very good, mate. Thank you. Still on holiday, having a bit of a break from the sun to do this. So, not to make you jealous or anything.
I mean, that does make me jealous quite a lot. But we were commenting before we started recording. You've gone for the Jack Grealish. Is it a Josh Phillips original or is it a Jack Grealish original?
Yeah, so I was doing it before it became popular and it just looked a mess. But now he started doing it, it's sort of brought into style a bit. So I'm pretty happy that he's done that for me.
There you go. It's all about the brand, mate. All about the brand. Anyway, joining Josh and I is someone who can start calling this podcast his home because he's made quite a few appearances now. It's Mr. Tom Bradshaw. How are you, Tom?
Not bad, Brady. Hopefully I'm becoming a bit of a cult hero.
I think so, mate. I think so. You've got the kit on as well. That's always good.
Exactly. You always got to wear the blue and white for this.
Yeah, you got the memo about the hats as well. So
yeah, I'm looking like you as much as I can today.
And that's always going to go down well, mate.
Exactly.
Maybe not for people looking at us, but for me, certainly so. Okay, so let's get into this. So, Josh, it's time for Trash Talk. If you are listening, you will hear a new jingle being played right now.
Oh, just settle it down, play on. Can we settle it down? What's your excuse there? No excuse at all, no.
So yeah, Trash Talk this week. You could say it's a difficult one, but we'll see how you get on. So I'm going to ask one of you to name as many Fulham players from the 2010 Europa League final between Atletico Madrid and Fulham, which Fulham lost 2-1 to Atletico Madrid. So I'm going to ask you to auction between you who can name the most. And then when one of you says to the other one, you cannot name that many in 30 seconds, then that person has to try and name that number. So I'm including first 11 players and the 7 substitutes. So Brady, let's start with you. How many do you think you can name?
I think Tom's face said it all then. I'm not really sure with this. I think I could probably name 2.
2? Tom?
Yeah, I'd actually say, no, I'd say I could probably name 2, maybe 3 at a push, but I think 2.
You're gonna go for 3, or you're gonna ask Brady to name 2?
Go on, I'll try for 3. Let's try it.
Brady, can you name 4, or do you think he's talking trash?
I think I can name 4 actually.
Go on then, Brady.
Tom, can you do 5, or you're gonna call him out on the 4?
I'm calling him out on the floor because I was lucky to think of 2, I think.
So, Brady, when I start the clock, you'll have 30 seconds to name as many of the Fulham starting 11 and 7 substitutes from the 2010 Europa League final as you can. Are you ready?
As ready as I will be, yeah.
Okay. Your time starts now.
Bobby Zamora.
Yes.
Clint Dempsey.
Yes.
Damien Duff.
Yes. One more needed. 20 seconds.
Brett Hangeland.
Breda Hangeland, I'll give you that. It's near enough.
Yeah.
Brady, you've smashed it there, mate.
That's the four. That's
one I got right.
That's the same four. I think I had Brady as well. I was a bit uncertain on Damien Duff, but I vaguely remember him playing, in that final.
Yeah, we've had Damien Duff, Zoltan Gira, Danny Murphy?
Oh, Danny Murphy playing that as well.
I once got the same flight as Danny Murphy. I'm sure that's a fun story. That's pretty much where it ends.
I'm sure he remembers it.
Yeah, memory I'll take for the rest of my life. So who was in the goal?
Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah.
I had Chris Kirkland in my head for some reason. They kind of looked similar, didn't they?
Yeah, so,
tall and lanky.
David De Gea was in goal for Atletico.
Really? Did Diego Forlan play in that?
Yeah, Forlan and Aguero up front.
Bloody hell.
And still took him to extra time. So, yeah. Roy Hodgson, manager, of course. So, probably Fulham's greatest moment, that, isn't it, getting to that final?
Yeah.
Well, who knows? The greatest moment might be playing us this weekend. We'll see. So we'll move on to Fulham, to a bit of Fulham insight. Shall I just jump in here a little bit? I think I watched a bit. Me and you were having a bit of a conversation, Tom, a couple of days ago after their match, but they drew 1-0 with Neil Warnock's Middlesbrough. Seemed to dominate possession really, which is no surprise given the quality of their players. I wouldn't, if we're looking ahead to this game, I'd expect the same. Even though we're trying to be a possession-based team, I just think they've got so much quality that's much better than us. So I think we'll really struggle. But I wanted to read out the bench. This is always a classic thing to show the level of quality we're talking. Okay, so their bench at the weekend was Marek Rodak, goalkeeper, Alfie Mawson, John Michael Siri, Bobby Ducova-Reid, Joe Bryan, Ivan Cavallero, and Abubakar Kamara. How many of them would be first teamers in town? Just madness, really. Although I'll come to you, Tom, because again, this is something we were talking about. I have my doubts about Marco Silva, and so do you. Do you want to kind of take it away?
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with the game. They've got a lot of quality, but I think it's similar to. I don't think Parker was a terrible manager, but I've always thought with Fulham, they've always got probably one of the best teams in the league. And apart from the lad who's at Sheffield United now, I thought he's a good manager when he was there. But I just don't think Silva is actually that good of a manager. He had a really good go with Hull for a season, and then everywhere else he's gone's been a bit. He did kind of all right at Watford, but ended up basically messing them about and going to Everton, didn't do anything there. So I personally think it's going to be a tough game, but with him in charge, I think they'll be up there next season, but I don't think it'll be as plain sailing as potentially on paper the squad looks like it should be.
No, I agree. I think Parker for me is a better manager than Silva. I know Silva's managed in the higher league, but like you say, he's got his head turned, and I just wondered if it starts going well with Fulham. If again we've seen him jump ship, but we will see. Josh, what about yourself? Obviously, you're closer to Fulham than me and Tom, I think.
Geographically.
Well, definitely for me, not sure about Tom. But what do you make of Fulham?
Well, I think it was a bit of a strange one last season because it always seemed to me like they would get relegated. It was a bit inevitable, but along the way, they showed quite a lot of fight, and their approach to games was very positive. Scott Parker, as you said, he had him playing some really nice football at times, and I think it's fair to say the results weren't what the performances deserved at times, but obviously it's a results business, so they rightly got relegated. But in appointing Marco Silva, they're going to look to continue playing that style, I think. He impressed, didn't he, when he first came to this country with Hull and Watford, but obviously he failed at Everton, and after a couple of years out of the game, he'll be looking to rebuild his reputation, but there's no guarantees with Marco Silva as the appointed as manager. And I think, the jury's out, really. It'll be big season for him and Fulham.
Absolutely. So I'll come to you, Josh, actually, because we always pick out a key player. Who do you think who is your key player for Fulham in this game?
Well, I'm going to go for Harry Wilson. He scored in his debut against Middlesbrough. Just signed for £12 million from Liverpool. He's obviously impressed at Bournemouth and Cardiff. And I think he'll be a real threat to us. He'll probably play on the right. So if we line up with the same system as we did the other day, it's going to be Colwill or Sorba Thomas having to track back and keep tabs on him. But I think he'll be very dangerous. And obviously he'll be supplying Mitrovic in the middle. I'm sure one of you two will say Mitrovic. So I thought it'd be different and go for Wilson.
Well, Tom, have you gone for Mitrovic?
Yeah, I've got him written down because I thought from when they played Borough, he didn't look as sharp as he usually is, and if he's on it, and because I think there was definitely 2 chances in that game where you think he should be at least getting it on target, and he didn't. If he's on it, they're laughing, aren't they? Because he is a top quality striker, especially in this league. He almost puts them in for fun. So, and with adding Wilson into that squad, it's insane looking at that squad. 12 million for him as well. It's like they're only really only real team in this league that's actually kind of splashed some cash in it, really. They've got the backing, they've got the players. Yeah, for me, it's whether Silva can kind of pull it out and get them playing. It's a difficult league, the Championship, so we'll see.
Yeah, no, definitely. I didn't pick Mitrovic or Wilson just because I thought you guys would do that, and you have done. I mean, it's hard to, like you say, Mitrovic scores league goals for fun, 20 goals pretty much every season he's in the Championship, and then a bit of a yo-yo player, can't seem to quite do it in the Premier League. But same with Harry Wilson. Obviously, any free kicks we give away, I think we're going to be a bit nervous. But I've gone for Josh Onoma. I think he's a good player at this level. He didn't really play loads in the Premier League, but I think he's really good at carrying the ball, and he's quite a tall midfielder. And I to be honest, I think if you put him in this Town side, it just adds so much, and he's a fantastic player and not one of the bigger names. So I've got for him. Came from Spurs, quite highly rated. Maybe not lived up to that reputation, but he's 24, so still quite young. Still got a lot of potential, and he got the assist for Harry Wilson, although you'd mainly say that goal that Wilson scored is mostly his work. But he's the one I picked out. But Tom, I'll go the other way around now. This is a Huddersfield Town podcast. So who's the Huddersfield Town player that you picked out? Let's start talking about Town. Come on.
Yeah. So I didn't go on Saturday, but I watched the extended highlights. I was actually quite impressed from what I saw. And I know you can't always go off the highlights because it cuts it into chances and key moments, but I was quite impressed with what I saw. I don't think that Derby team was as bad as what everyone thought it was going to be, especially when you think we had, was it 4 players out with COVID and Carlos, which is going to kind of mess everyone's psyche up a little bit. I've gone for Pearson as Town's key player because the one thing that I did see that was a bit shaky, and I thought where Derby got most of their chances from on Saturday was us playing it out from the back and giving it away. And I think if Pearson and Colwell looked all right at that, but Pearson and Sarr, you never know with Sarr, do you, who you're getting. But Pearson, if he stamps that out, you've got to have 2 of those 3 being able to play out from the back at least. You can't have 2 of the 3 not being able to handle it. So I've gone with Pearson as our key player for Saturday.
Yeah, that matchup between him and Mitrovic, I think it'll be an old-fashioned tussle, as they say. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Josh, what about you? Who have you gone for?
Well, the obvious one is based on Saturday's game would be Sorba Thomas, wouldn't it? But I don't think we're going to have much of the ball in the attacking third, so he won't have as much chance to do what he did on Saturday, which was very, very impressive. I'm sure we'll come on to him a bit later. So for me, I've gone for defender as well. I've gone for Naby Sarr. He had a good game on Saturday. One thing he's always struggled for in his time at Town has been consistency. So let's see now, can he put two good performances together? We'll need him to, up against Mitrovic, as we talked about. So for me, it's going to be about, as negative as it sounds, it's going to be about stopping Fulham scoring based on the quality they've got. And I think a draw will be good for Town. So the key for us will be stopping Fulham scoring, and therefore my key player is Naby Sarr.
I think these are great points, and my pick is very maybe not the most positive going forward, but who I've highlighted is, the odds are against us. You're going into war, if we want to use the war metaphors. Who do you want? You want Jonathan Hogg. You want Jonathan Hogg to kick people, to get in people's faces and make them scared to do stuff. And obviously, I'm kind of joking and putting Hogg just as basically a bruiser, which we know he can do. But to be fair, last season under Corberan, improved his game quite a lot, I think. I initially doubted him. I thought he'd be one of those players that struggled to make the change, but he's quite good with his passing. He's improved a bit. Not the best passer we have on the team, but I think he's going to be really key to stopping Fulham, but also to helping build the attacks. So I've gone for Jonathan Hogg. But yeah, it'll be nice to I am going to the game on Saturday, so it'll be nice to see him in the ground, either getting in someone's face or messing up something and blaming another player for it. I think I've missed that. So yeah, I've gone for Jonathan. Anyway, I'm going to play another jingle that you guys can't hear, and that's going to happen right now.
We've literally lost to a pub side.
So that means it's time for the view from the other side. Earlier, I caught up with Joe Sampson from the Fulham podcast Fulhamish to hear what he made of the match last weekend and what he makes of this game, and here's what he had to say.
Fulham marked their return to the Championship with a 1-1 draw against Middlesbrough. How did they get on, and what were your thoughts on the match?
So yeah, Fulham started the season with a 1-1 draw against Middlesbrough on Sunday, and very strange game, a typical sort of Championship encounter against a Warnock team. Big, physical, hard to play against. First half, I think we started off, and you could see a few jitters in the team. You could see that we were a bit nervous. Maybe that was to do with playing in front of fans for the first time in a while. But yeah, I mean, we got going. We started to play some good football. We started to create a few chances around the half-hour mark, and then Harry Wilson scored a cracking goal, which I'm hoping we'll see a few more times this season. Second half, continued to create and continued to dominate the ball. And then with Borough's first real chance, the sucker punch came, and it was so disappointing because same old story, really. We've had quite a few games like this, and it happens when you're, without being cocky, one of the better teams on paper in the division. Teams come, just try and hang in there and then grab something on the break. And Borough, to be fair to them, did it to perfection. But I was happy with what I saw in terms of the attacking play. It was far more exciting than we've seen from Scott Parker. A lot of focus on getting the fullbacks forward, right to the byline, overlapping runs, crosses into the box, and just more bodies in the box in general, which was nice to see. But a good start in terms of the performance. Obviously, the result was a little bit frustrating, but I'm hoping that we're going to continue to grow as a team, and Marco Silva will continue to get his ideas across to us.
After the opening game, are you still feeling confident about promotion for Fulham this season?
Yeah, despite not winning the game on Sunday, I'd say I'm still very confident of promotion. I think the squad on paper speaks for itself, and we may lose a few. There's rumours that one of our midfielders, Anguissa, seems to be on his way out. He wasn't in the squad, and there was no mention of injury on Sunday. It's a very strange situation because I'm sure you'll relate as Huddersfield fans, we're not used to being the favourites. We're used to being the underdog. It was certainly that case in the Premier League last season. But I'm still confident. It all comes down to the same issue for us, and that is being clinical in front of goal. Didn't create as many clear-cut chances as we'd have liked on Sunday, but the ones that we did, we didn't take, and that cost us last season. And we need to make sure it doesn't cost us again this season. But we should get a few more bodies in, I'd hope, especially in midfield. And when we've got our full strength 11 back, you'll notice that we played a few youngsters on Sunday to replace some of our maybe first teamers. I'm definitely confident that we've got a team capable of getting top 2.
Marco Silva is now in charge of the side. How did you feel about this appointment, and what have you made of him so far? I appreciate it's still early days.
Marco Silva was a bit of an unexpected appointment in my eyes. It wasn't a name I saw coming, and it came very much out of the blue, and then it was a done deal. But all the signs seem to be that he's really re-energised the squad. We've obviously got players that were almost discarded last season when we got up to the Premier League. We've got an array of players, some of which were Premier League quality, some of which are coming back in from loans, and he seems to have brought them all together really well, and he seemed to have got his ideas in terms of our attacking play through to them so far. It's also great that he's brought back fan favourite Louis Boa-Morte as his assistant, but I think it's a very good match because Marco Silva, obviously his reputation in England took a bit of a knock after his job at Everton. He needs to get back to the Premier League just as much as we need to, so I really do feel it's possibly a match made in heaven, but obviously we'll wait to see if that comes to fruition.
Harry Wilson made a positive start to his life at Craven Cottage with a goal on his debut. What did you make of that transfer, and are there any other signings you've been particularly impressed with?
I was really impressed with Harry Wilson's debut on Sunday. He was very dangerous. He looks like a winger that can make stuff happen. He's always looking to come inside and get a shot away or feed someone in, but with a through ball. And his goal was fabulous. It was really confident, and as soon as he got the ball outside the box, he just knew that he was going to go for goal. And it was amazing to be back at a ground, by the way, and actually celebrate a goal in person. It's been since February 2020, and it's just amazing to be back. But very impressed by Wilson. The only other new arrival we've got other than Wilson is Gazzaniga, who started in goal, and it was a bit of a surprise actually for me. I thought that Rodak would start. He was our goalie last time he went up. I'm trying to think from a Huddersfield fan's perspective. You'll probably remember him from our 3-2 win over you just before the season stopped. Must have been early February in 2020, I think, and we won 3-2, and we were really hanging on at the end. I remember Carl and Grant was causing us loads of problems, and Rodak was making save after save. So from a Fulham perspective, brilliant. But yeah, I was thinking that Rodak would come back in. You know, he's been given the number 1 shirt this season. But Gazzaniga came in, and I just can't really comment on him because Borough had 1 shot on target and it went in, and I've got no complaints. It was a very good shot right in the corner. Couldn't have expected him to save it, in my opinion. So I would imagine he'll keep his place for the foreseeable future. I can't see him being dropped after that game. I don't think there's any need to, but very interesting that he was favoured. That's all our business so far. We're being linked with a young striker from Brazil called Rodrigo Muniz, who Borough were linked to as well, hoping that he comes in sooner rather than later, as Mitrovic looks a bit sluggish on Sunday. He's probably the leanest I've ever seen him, but in terms of his fitness, it still doesn't seem to be quite there. So those are our rivals so far. I'd imagine both to be involved in the game next Saturday.
How do Fulham fans feel about this match? Is it seen as an easy 3 points, or do you think you'll struggle in your first away match of the campaign?
I think a lot of fans are just seeing this game as, oh my God, I can't wait to go to an away game. And I'm not going myself. I'm not going to this one, but I know that a lot of my friends are really excited to be back at an away ground, make a whole day of it, so excited. And I think, with all due respect to Huddersfield, a club that I like and respect, a lot of fans are seeing this as possibly one of the easier end of games. We know there's no easy game in the Championship, and especially away from home. I know that you guys are going to make a very good atmosphere, especially with that section that you've got in the end behind the goal next to the away fans. I know that will be a tough place to go. But I think that a lot of fans have thought this is the more favourable on paper of our fixtures early on, especially with we've got to go to the Den soon. We're playing Stoke, Middlesbrough, teams that you'd expect to be up there. And I'm not sure what expectations are for Huddersfield fans this season, but obviously last year wasn't great for you guys. So I think that it's going to be a tough one. I would fancy us to score, especially after what I saw on Sunday. So it's more a case of this time, can we, keep our concentration? Can we hang on in there? Because I thought we looked as dangerous as I've seen us in a while going forward, and I would expect us to cause you quite a few problems. But I never feel too confident going into an away game, to be honest. Maybe I've just been a Fulham fan for too long. I do think this is one that if we are to try and get top 2, we need to be looking to get 3 points.
So, Joe, what are you expecting from the game against Huddersfield?
I'm expecting a similar performance to Sunday. I'm expecting us to dominate possession. I'm expecting us to completely go for it, to be honest, and go there and try and get 3 points. I'm expecting Huddersfield to start quite quickly because it's the first game back with fans. You know, I'm sure they want to put on a good display and get a good result for you guys that are going to be back there for the first time in an awfully long time. I mean, I know that we had a couple of games last season in the Premier League where a few fans were allowed in. I'm not sure if you guys got that in the Championship. I can't remember. There were so many rule changes that I'm not sure if the tiers allowed that for you guys. But you know, I'm sure it will be a sold out full house, and a big atmosphere. But I'm expecting us to come on strong. I'm thinking that if you guys do go for it, that will probably play into our hands a bit. I know we struggled a bit with how tight Middlesbrough were on Sunday. A low block, quite hard to break down. I think our team really suits if we are playing on the break. I know that that's not how we're going to play. We're not going to sit back, but I think that the space would really play into our hands. So I'm expecting a tough game, but I'm expecting another good performance from us, I hope.
And finally, how do you see the game going and what's your score prediction?
In terms of a score prediction, I'm going to have to back Fulham. I was impressed with what I saw the other day, and I think that on another day we could have beaten Middlesbrough 2 or 3-0, and it was just a case of taking our chances when they came. So I'm going to back Fulham. I'm going to back us to win 2-0. I don't think it'll be an easy game, but I think it'll be one where we can hopefully start to see Marco Silva's football in fruition. And wish you guys all the best of the season. I've always liked Huddersfield, and I'm hoping that you guys do okay. I've seen a few people tipping them to be in and around relegation. I hope that's not the case. So best of luck to you guys for the season, and hopefully see you for the return fixture whenever that is.
Okay, so we've heard from Joe. Interesting stuff. I'd love to be a Fulham fan, given all the quality he was talking about. But we'll move on. We're on to a new section called Back in Time.
A backpack full of memories.
Josh, take us away.
Right, so it's just basically, we're going to go back in time, as the title suggests, and take a look at the previous meetings between Town and Fulham. So we've played each other 70 times, and the wins are very even. 26 for Town, 28 for Fulham, and there's also been 16 draws. But looking back through the history books, it's important to note that a lot of those games were played when Fulham were in the lower leagues, and they're not the club that they are now, after the rise up the leagues in the late 90s, which saw them, become what they are today. And that's important to note because Town have only won one of the last 15 meetings with Fulham, and that's stretching back to the late 90s, as I said. I picked out a few notable meetings between the sides. The first one is Fulham 3, Town 0, and that was in May 2000. And Town needed a result. I can't remember if they needed to win. I think it was a win they needed to reach the playoffs. And it was a season after Town had sold Marcus Stewart and the wheels fell off. And Lee Clark was on the score sheet for Fulham that day. So that was a day to forget in the capital for Town. And similarly, interestingly, the season got promoted in 16-17. They battered us 5-0 at Craven Cottage and they beat us 4-1 at the John Smiths. So it's a good job Reading beat them in the playoff semi-final, because I'm sure we would have lost to Fulham in the final. And the third game I've picked out is Town 1, Fulham 0. I had to get a win in there, didn't I? And that was one of our only 3 wins in the 2018-19 season. It was on Bonfire Night 2018. Christopher Schindler scored the only goal of the game, and it gave us a bit of hope. Obviously, it turned out to be false hope, but hope nonetheless that we could at least scrape a few points together that season. And lastly, the last meeting between the sides was in February 2020, so just before the coronavirus pandemic. Fulham went 3-0 up after 30 minutes, and then Town, through Emile Smith-Rowe and Steve Mounier, pulled a couple back before half-time, but that was as good as it got for Town. We couldn't find that equaliser. Brady, I know you mentioned that you were at that game.
I watched it. I wasn't at the game. I was at the one where Schindler got the winner. There's some good memories there, Josh. I think you spot on. Obviously, who cares now because we got promoted? But in that promotion season, we did get battered a couple of times, like quite heavily. Fulham on both ends. I remember Bristol City with Tammy Abraham. I think they gave us a thrashing as well. But the 3-2 at Craven Cottage, that was when we saw Emile Smith-Rowe. Wonder what happened to him. And Steve Mounier obviously got on the score sheet. It was funny because obviously we were 3-0 down. And I was saying before we started recording, I know some people still talk about that game, but we did lose it. But it's a bit similar to the Bristol City game last season, where I'm pretty sure we created loads of chances after that, and we just couldn't get that, get the equaliser. So encouraging stuff. And then obviously the whole world changed and we went into lockdown, and then we came back and lost quite miserably to Wigan. So sorry, I meant to cheer everyone up. This is fun. But well done for including a win in there, Josh. Tom, do you have any memories from any of those?
That 5-0 away was one of the best days I've ever had. I don't know what it was about that season, even though because that was quite early on in the season, but there was just such a good spirit, and town fans stayed pretty much all the away end was still full, and we outsung the Fulham fans the whole game, even when we were 5-0 down. And I think that just epitomised that, like how much trust we had in that squad and kind of belief. And the rest is history, I guess, isn't it?
Lovely. And obviously I didn't go to Derby, but how nice was it to watch the game? How nice was it to just hear fans back? I know that's the classic, but really looking forward to Saturday, because I think, well, we'll come on to predictions, but I hope everyone's singing because I'm not feeling too confident about the result. Anyway, Matt has promised me he's going to do a jingle for this bit. It's the one that everyone likes, or the one that people accuse me of trying to rig. It's Return to the Mac. You should hear that right now.
Christopher Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend.
De Platter's got the better. Yes! And Laurent De Platter scored! What a goal, Aaron Moy! An absolute thunderbolt delivered all the way from Australia.
Return to the Mac.
That was a good jingle.
Oh, I love it, Tom. Love it. It was good, wasn't it? Classic. No, it probably is the best one because I did the others in there. Let's just say I'm not an audio producer. Josh, who are you bringing back from the past for this one-off game against Fulham?
Well, the player I'm bringing back is based on the formation that we played at the weekend, and I'm guessing that we will stick with it based on the personnel. But for me, I don't want to dig a guy out, but Ollie Turton didn't look that comfortable as a right wing back. So for me, I was looking for someone to come in and play that right wing back role. So I've gone for Tommy Smith for that exact reason. I think he'd do a very good job playing a right wing back. He'd get forward, deliver crosses for Rhodes and whoever's up front with him, and also he'd be very strong defensively. So for that reason, I'm going for Tommy Smith.
That's a good shout. And all I will say is it's a good job Ollie Turton couldn't see your WhatsApp messages on Saturday. I don't know if... Sorry, I know we're not a review show, but I kept getting nailed, I thought. I don't know if he's had previous with Derby, but I know he was probably lucky to stay on in hindsight, but I think Derby gave it back.
I don't mean to be harsh to the guy. I just think I had to pick someone, didn't I? So I just think Tommy Smith is better than him. That's all I'm saying.
That's fine. I'd love Tommy Smith back. I think we've said this before. I think Tom might have even been on one, but I would bring Tommy Smith back. Always liked him. Tom, who are you going for?
Kind of gone similar thinking to Josh, but I've gone even more defensively, so we can basically go for a back five on the weekend, and I've kind of swapped Thomas out for Chris Lover. Is who I'd bring back for the weekend. I know you'd lose what Thomas is doing, but maybe put him somewhere else. But I just think we're going to be it's going to be difficult to kind of control what's going on. So I'd be getting as many defenders on as possible.
I think you're right there. I mean, Lowe was great. Always gave it a 7 out of 10. You know, just solid. I think another player we miss really. Although Thomas was good at left wing back, but yeah, I think that's a great shout. I've also gone. Go on, Josh. Sorry.
Right. Who do you guys think's better, Chris Lowe or Harry Toffolo?
I think Toffolo's better as an attacking player.
Yeah.
100%. But I think Lowe, I don't know. A bit like Frank, but you knew we were going to get every single match day. Like I say, 7 out of 10. Never really let you down. So I suppose it depends. That's a sitting on the fence answer. I suppose it depends what kind of style you're playing. But I mean, Toffolo, yeah, like going forward, beats Lowe hands down. But maybe we put that to a vote as well as a return to Mac. See what people think. Like it, Josh. Tom, what about you? Do you agree with me? I think you should.
I think I do agree with you. I really rate Harry Toffolo, and especially going forward. But I'd say Lowe defensively all day long.
Sorry, I feel like I've thrown us off course there, Brady.
No. I do that all the time, mate. So you're more than welcome to. I'm going to go. So my pick is quite defensive. I don't want to seem like I'm picking on this player, but I wasn't filled with confidence with Schofield in the Derby game when I was watching it. I think Nichols probably would have started as well, and I think given all the unrest that happened, prior to the game, I don't think that was maybe the best circumstances to come in. So my pick, and I think this is quite a good one, but I've gone for Jonas Lossell. I just always felt confident with him between the sticks, and I think, to be honest, in this game, our keeper is going to be the busier keeper. So I think you need someone who you can rely on. For me, you could rely on Jonas Lossell at Midtjylland now. I would have liked him to come back. Probably couldn't afford his wages, but I brought him back. Always liked him as a keeper. It reminded me. I said this to Matt. I don't know if you agree, but when he first joined town, reminded me of Szczesny at Arsenal. Like a bit, obviously Szczesny's great at Juventus now, but still a little bit too cocky, but then seemed to rein it in, particularly when that season we got relegated. I thought he was our best player that season, kept the score down a lot, and we got a few batterings. So, yeah, I think that's going to be quite a tight one, lads, in terms of the poll. So we'll see who comes out on top.
I think Lossell will take it.
How do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's what you
Classic
mean.
Brady.
Classic Brady. I mean, yeah, I was thinking Danny Ward, but I should have really picked him for penalties because we know.
True.
On him. But anyway, obviously, we're going to move on to You're the Boss. Now, Carlos, again, we're recording at the time of recording. We don't know in terms of team news. We don't know if Carlos is going to be in the dugout. We don't know if the players who tested positive will be in. So it's a perfect time for You're the Boss, really, because if Carlos is isolating, it paves the way for one of us to come in.
Yeah, actually, they might listen to this and get one of us in.
Exactly, yeah. I'd like to think Danny Schofield listens to this and it's like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
He's a good lad, Schofield, so I'm sure he'll give someone else another crack at it.
Exactly. So, seeing as you're our guest, Tom, we'll let you go first. You're the boss. I assume you'd be wearing the red cap in the dugout.
Yeah, red cap, full kit as well to confuse the opposition.
Lovely.
I don't know if that's allowed. I might have to wear a bib, but we'll see if I can just think there's an extra man on the pitch or something now and again.
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, the worst thing they can do is tell you not to.
Yeah, exactly.
So, why not? Bearing in mind, this is the team you pick, so not the team you think Carlos or Danny Schofield.
No. This is the team I'm picking, and I'm taking into consideration that I'm assuming we're not going to have the same players again because it's 10 days, isn't it? That they should be out for if they're following protocol.
I suppose they took those tests on Friday. Yeah, I mean, I don't think
probably
this is
not
a podcast for us to debate.
But anyway, I'm just not going to use them for the just to be safe, and I'm going with Schofield in the sticks, and then Cole, Wilson, and Pearson as a back three, and then I'm going to put 4 in the middle. It's going to be Thomas, Hogg, Vallejo, and Turton. So Thomas and Turton kind of coming back as fullbacks, and Hogg and Vallejo playing quite defensively. And then Sinani just in front of those two, and then Rhodes and Ward up front. Okay. So quite similar to the Derby game, but I've dropped Holmes and High. I actually thought Scott High played quite well, but I just think Vallejo, someone with a bit more experience coming into this game, will be good.
I think that's a good shout. And what did you make of Ward and Rhodes as a partnership, Tom, on Saturday? I know you.
I thought from what I saw, Ward looked a lot more lively than last season, even though he only played a few games last season, but he looked quite quick, quite sharp. The thing with Rhodes is I think if Thomas, we had so many chances from crosses that didn't get on target and stuff. So if you can get him into Rhodes' head, surely he's going to knock a few of those in. So with Rhodes, I think it's one of those. If he starts scoring, hopefully it'll get his confidence up. I think it's been knocked the last few seasons. Maybe he's lost a bit of pace, and he just needs to figure out another way to. Not that he had that much pace already, but you know what I mean. He needs to figure out another way to get in those positions. So, I think it's an all right front two, but it'd be nice to have someone with a bit of pace up there, maybe as well.
I think that's a good shout. Josh, what about yourself? How are you lining up for this game?
Well, so based on, as we said, the COVID players being still out, I'd keep the same formation, 3-5-2, just because I couldn't drop Sarr or Colwill. So I'd have Schofield in goal, Colwill, Sarr, Pearson as the three centre-backs, Turton on the right wing-back and Thomas left wing-back. And then I'd actually forgotten about Vallejo until you mentioned him there, Tom. I would have him in with Hogg. So sort of two screening players. And then in front of them, I can't decide between High or Holmes. I think probably High, just because we'll need to have a lot of energy in midfield. Holmes obviously has energy as well, but High is he reminds me a bit of Lewis O'Brien off the ball at times. So yeah, High in there. And then I would have Karoma and Campbell up front, purely for the fact of that high pressing game. It doesn't really suit, definitely doesn't suit Rhodes. And Ward has been a bit ineffective, really. So I think Campbell just chuck him up there, let him run around, get a yellow card, give away a load of fouls. And then you've got Karoma as well, he's good at pressing as well. And I think he's got to start. I don't know why he didn't start at the weekend. He can definitely play up front. That was a mistake for me. So
yeah. I don't know why I hadn't started him, actually. I've missed him out. I'd missed, like you missed Vallejo, Josh. I've missed Karoma out. I totally forgot because he didn't play on Saturday. Didn't start on Saturday.
It's you wearing that full kit, mate. It's
confusing. Yeah, that's what I want to do.
No, I think that's a good. I think that's a good lineup, Josh. I've basically gone for the same 3-5-2. I think again that's dictated by the positive tests. So yeah, Schofield in goal. Same back three: Colwell, Pearson, and Sarr. I thought Sarr had a good game actually. In the centre back, obviously got the goal, but I thought in terms of his play on the ball as well. I know sometimes he can be a bit error prone. I thought it was quite good. So my five. I'm actually sticking. No, I'm not. I'm going Turton. Turton is kind of your right wing back. Again, I would put Pippa in there, but he's still nursing a bit of a groin injury. I'm going for Hogg because obviously he's my key player for this game. I think I get why you guys are playing Vallejo, and I do think he's like in terms of passing, I think he's great, but I think he's quite slow and can get caught out. And I think when I look at Fulham's attackers, he's not the quickest, and I feel like they can nip the ball off him. So for that kind of energy, I have put High back in there, and I've also kept Holmes as well. I think Holmes, obviously returning to Derby, had maybe had a bit more motivation, but I think him playing in midfield, he was a lot better. Still not probably seen the best of him, but playing in a position he preferred to. I thought he improved a bit. So yeah, I've gone for that. And then Thomas, obviously his set piece delivery, I thought he was fantastic against Derby. We should have been giving him the ball more. He was screaming for it as well, which is what you like to see. And I agree with you, Josh. I've gone for Campbell and Karoma up front. I just think you spot on. Campbell, I think, it'd be a nightmare to play against. Not because he's like a goal poacher, but he's just always up in your grill. He's always harassing you. And like you say, he's going to get his customary yellow card at some point. So, yeah, I think that's a good shout. And Karoma, again, a goal threat. The only person I can really see is getting goal threat, him and Thomas. But I do think I've been quite disappointed that Siani's only kind of come on for the last couple of minutes in both games. I'd like to see him come on maybe with half an hour left. Obviously, it depends how the game goes, but we've talked about it a bunch of times. But Town lack creativity, and for me, he's we need to see him. We need to see what he can do. Get him playing. You might not be up to fitness, but he needs some minutes. So maybe bring on half an hour to go. So we'll see how it pans out. But we'll kind of close with how you see the game going and your match predictions. But Tom, how do you see the game going, and what's your score prediction if you had to guess?
I think it is a shame that those four are out with COVID, and then Pippa as well with injury, because compared to last season, we've actually got depth, haven't we? We're picking these teams now, and I'm kind of, if those five were available, you might even have 3 different teams completely between us. So, but I think it'll be another classic, difficult Fulham game, and I've gone a 3-1 Fulham win.
Let's focus on the positive there. Who you think is going to score for Town?
I'm going to go with Thomas to get his first. He hasn't scored at home yet, has he? Has he not scored at all? I don't think.
He scored, yeah.
So, let's go with Thomas with his first goal for Town.
Nice. Focus on the positives. We'll see that on social media for the next week as well.
Yeah.
Josh, how do you see the game going? Are you predicting a win for Town?
Not a win, not that far. It wouldn't surprise me if we did lose 3-1 or something like that. But I think it's not the worst time to be playing Fulham with a new manager, and they're not used to winning games at the moment. So I think we can nick a 1-1 draw, and we're going to go for Karoma as the goal scorer.
Lovely. I think you're right, mate. Yeah. Obviously we saw how bad the relegation fallout was for us and new boss. So I like the positivity. I think I would snap your hand off for a 1-1 draw, to be honest. I think that'd be good.
Definitely.
To be honest, I think if we're going to get any joy from this game and get a 1-1 draw or a draw, like you say, we need to copy what Borough did and just sit deep and maybe come out if there's still something in the game with 20 odd minutes to go. I don't know if we will do that. I think 3-5-2, gives us a bit of support, but it's difficult. I think Fulham, you just look at the quality. Obviously, I read the bench earlier, but they've got to hurt us. You're just hoping, like say, Josh, that maybe they're not quite clicking into gear yet. So I've gone for a 2-1 defeat. So a 2-1 Fulham win. I just think the quality is going to win out, but I could kind of see them win. I think it could be quite a cagey game, especially, I know we haven't really talked about it, but the fans are back, and I do think that'll be a big boost for Town. But I could kind of see them, Fulham winning, but kind of in the last 10 minutes. I just think quality will kind of get out there. But I'm going to go for a Pearson header for the Town goal. So he was pretty close against Derby, to be fair.
Yeah, he should have scored that.
Yeah, he should have. Really.
There was a few. There was him, and I think did Rhodes have a chance quite close. There's Thomas' delivery, though, beautiful.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Not since Gary Roberts seen that kind of delivery.
Yeah. And as you said to me, Tom, we can talk about tricky players all you like, but having someone good at set pieces in any league is a danger. So it's a real.
And now I got all these big lads. You never know, do you? I think from that Borough game, Brady, like you just said, actually, when it was, even when they were 1-0 up, Fulham seemed to still be going for it, and Borough's goal came from almost from a counter attack. It was kind of like Fulham seemed quite empty at the back. They seemed to get easily a lot of space, Borough. So you never know, if it's 1-1 with 10 minutes to go. Who knows? You might be able to nick one with fans as well. So it'd be good, wouldn't it? Imagine that first time back a win.
Oh, that'd be great. Regardless of the result, it's like you talked about the 5-0 game where we got battered, but you still had a good time. you know, I know we're a previous show. I'm just so looking forward to being back in the ground, going with my old man. Finally, actually getting decent beer as well. Obviously, we're sponsored by Magic Rock.
Yeah.
Magic Rock's in the ground now. Can't wait for that. And I can't wait to, you know, blame the referee and the linesman for every decision, regardless if it's right or not. So, so we'll see how we get on. But yeah, no. Cheers to everyone for listening. Cheers to Josh and cheers to Tom for coming on. And we will be back to preview the midweek game against Preston. And Mr. Stephen Chicken will be joining us for that. So do make sure. So lovely stuff. All right. Cheers for listening, guys. And yeah, fingers crossed for a win.
Oh, what a night. Late in May in 2017. Schindler scored, it was a heaven dream. What a feeling, what a night. Oh, what a night. Wagner singing, we are Premier League. The greatest sight, St. George's Square to see. What an evening, what a night. Oh, I got a funny feeling when he walks and a fence, and then the commentator yelled he takes that chance. Oh, what a night. Lost so safe and mesmerizing me. Low, low charge and flattened all Chelsea. Stamford Bridge, oh what a night. Whoa, I got a funny feeling when he walks and a fence, and then the commentator yelled he takes that chance. Oh, what a night. Oh,